It is June 1st, 2026, just after midnight. Beautiful downtown Houston. Just finished a workout here in the gym. Gonna cool down here for a minute. Hopefully no one walks in. If they do, I'll walk out. But gonna chill on the bench here and just take a little break and have a good time to start a video to help men and women. This will help women more than men maybe, but either way, if we help men, then that'll help women. If we help women, that'll help men. So, I've been using the dual mating strategy to kind of, explain, which side you want to be. Do you want to be a beta male provider? Or do you want to be, alpha bang? And I said, be the alpha bang, and, in my first series of videos, I had a lot of content on, the beta male provider meeting his demise by at the hands of his wife, because he didn't realize he wasn't respected and he wasn't loved, and now what I'm starting to see, like I said on other videos, is that there's another trend where the beta male obviously is the most dangerous man you'll ever meet, because he's a shapeshifter. He lies in wait. If he doesn't get his way, he's good until he doesn't get his way. If he loses control, he doesn't feel like he can get back his control by confronting you. He'll have to go surreptitiously and, like a woman almost, and, because they had to. But men, if you're masculine, we're more of meet someone head on. But if you're a weak man, you'll do it like a woman and, go in a roundabout indirect way, use the group or spread gossip or, lie in wait until, they can pounce on you and, play the Mr. Nice Guy role. And, when they don't get their way and they lose control, they freak out because they're fearful animals like women, and they see life in scarcity. They see women in scarcity. So they hold on tight to control, and they feel like, because they've shape-shifted and they've held on to control pretty well in their lives, so they think they can actually control situations. But what they don't realize is probably a lot of those situations were, whether they tried to or not, they were gonna, we don't have a lot of control in life, over things. We think we have more control than we actually do, but we really don't. And you got to kind of be, what's Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher. He's one of my favorites. It is the only way to happiness is this. The only way to happiness is cease worrying about things out beyond your control. And basically, you can't control things. So if you can't control it, don't worry about it. Because it's going to happen anyway. Change is constant. What is law 48? Law 48, yeah, law 48, assume formlessness. And it says in law 48, because 48 Laws of Power is the best book you can ever get. So assume formlessness, because change is always going to be happening. Life is not static. So be prepared to change, be prepared to, assume another form, right? But anyway, but the problem is assume that form and be that form. A beta male assumes a form that he's not, and that's what a shapeshifter is. It's like, but anyway, so, what you think is a good guy, you get caught off guard, and so what I've been using is criminal cases to describe these things, and that's what I'll do today. And the case I'm going to talk about is one that happened in Columbia, Missouri. And it's the Joe Elledge case, and her name, he was married to a woman named Menchie. She was Chinese. He had another woman that was Chinese meet her demise, and and it's the same tragedy, just different circumstances. And but both of them met beta male Americans, and unfortunately, and they got bamboozled, so. They met weak men that, put on a show, played Mr. Nice Guy, played Mr. Good Guy, until they lost control. And once they lost control, the extreme anger came out, the extreme attempt to win back control came out, and they don't know how to do it. And when they start when they don't know what to do, a beta male is going to what they call kind of an extinction burst. They're just gonna freak out. They don't know what to do. They're gonna argue, yell, they're gonna put you down. They're gonna do whatever they can to try to, attack you, shame you, spread rumors about you, whatever. Well, that's what happened here. Joe Elledge he met his wife at a place, I believe it's called Nanova. His wife was extremely brilliant. She went to university in China, and those apparently you had to be very smart to get into those in China. And then she came to Missouri to go to, I think she got a master's degree in like astro engineering or some really physics engineer. I mean, it was one of these cool degrees, but anyway, she was smart. She was extremely smart. And she went to work. One of the professors, I believe, owned a company called Nanova, and it was like a biomaterials company, and she was going to be an engineer, some kind of specialist there, and she was actually Joe Elledge's boss, and so they met, and he played the nice guy role, and they had a decent relationship for a year and 7 months. But did he use the nice guy role and Mr. Beta Male, cool guy, beta male provider guy, to gain her trust? And she kind of was attracted to that, but I don't think she was particularly won over by him. I don't think she was particularly aroused by Joe Elledge. And he looked like a geek, a white boy, like a 6'3" white boy geek, in my opinion. A dork, definite dork. And for whatever reason, the dorks, Asian girls give white dorks a chance. I said, don't do that. I'm a white guy, so don't give us a chance, Asian girl. Well, you could give me a chance. I was kidding, but no. I mean, Asian girls are beautiful, but the white guys the dorky white guys somehow. Anyway, this guy, she was way too good, way too pretty for this guy. Beautiful girl. She was really beautiful. And I don't know if I'm saying her name right, just like Gloria Cho was, and good personalities, excellent personalities. And, I hear them talking, because they had 14 hours of recorded arguments between Joe had recorded himself arguing with his wife, and she had recorded herself arguing with her husband. But I will tell you one thing is, and when you do not argue with your wife. And I could hear things going on, and the Menchie girl, basically she didn't respect him, and there were reasons why she shouldn't have. I mean, and I could hear her being very practical, and he was getting very emotional, sounding like a little biatch, sounding like a little whiny baby during arguments, and he would get he would just blow up and yell and just shame her and call her nasty names. He was mean to her mother. They ended up having a baby. They get married. They have to get married after a year and 7 months because Menchie's not a permanent resident yet. She doesn't have a green card. She's just on visa here, going to school and working. She had like a work permit. She was legal, but she was going to have to go back, and so they had to get married. And that's a bad idea because I speak from experience. That's a bad idea because, and I've changed in my 50 years and learned from my mistakes. So that's why I say beta male provider is so bad, because if you have to use something extra to get a woman, and it's not just your swag and your alpha dominance and your good looks and your assertive personality and your aggressiveness, and disagreeableness on the right scale, and she's attracted and aroused by you like that, then if you have to use something extra like, I'll marry you and you'll like me more, they won't like you more. They may be attracted to that, like I say, money and status, your status as an American citizen, they may be attracted to. And there's a content creator going around. He's in Thailand right now, and he's talking about how great the ladies are and stuff. And but that's the same. That's the money and status game. You're playing it over there, and they're just they're being nice to you because you have money and status. You have more money and status there than you do here. I mean, here, let's say you make, I don't know, if you like $500,000 as opposed to a guy that makes $100,000, whatever. you're kind of gonna be in the same ballpark. I mean, now the guy making $500,000, he might have a nicer car, a little nicer house, but it's not gonna impress the girl enough to be in America to be so much different, But if you make, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000, and most people are making $10,000 in Thailand. Well, now you're king daddy, and there's a lot of women that are looking to, get your status, and take care of the whole family. So yeah, they're going to be nicer, they're going to be more feminine because they're putting on an act. That's what they do here. Anyway, So if you're going to play the money status game, that's it's not going to work. Even if you go to Thailand, that usually ends up blowing up in their face, and that's the weak way to do it, in my opinion. But whatever. So, but yeah. So again, I go back to if you have to use something extra, and beta males usually do. That's why girls will say, "I don't sleep with men on the first date." And shout out Mr. Vicario. No, add with you. I don't sleep with guys like you. I don't sleep with you on the first date. She sleeps with somebody on the first date, and that's the alpha bang guy, right? She doesn't sleep with you on the first date because you're a beta male. And this has been, you can go look on podcasts. Boomin have even been admitted to this. That guy had to bring more than just, himself and his, little wiener, because he had a little wiener and he couldn't work it, so he's gonna have to treat me, and he's gonna have to bring a little extra. He's gonna have to overcompensate, and it's true though. I mean, it's that's how we are as humans. If I'm gonna go down in my standards as far as looks and arousal, then you better be making mama happy, but they don't respect that. They don't, and then when they don't respect you, they don't love you. When a woman doesn't respect you and doesn't love you, then you're in trouble. So you're already starting from behind, right? So again, that marriage thing, affected their power dynamic. You know what I mean? So, but it probably was common for Joe Elledge because, he probably went through his life doing that, and for a woman, they're attracted to resources to a certain degree, and it's unconscious. They're not, they're not realizing, oh wait, I'm not aroused by this guy, And what do we usually find? Well, because he was a beta male provider to a certain degree, he provided the status. Now he didn't provide money because she was the breadwinner. He quit and started going to get his master's degree. He was a smart guy. Beta males can be smart guys. Doesn't mean they're not dangerous, right? And when he starts losing control, you can see, like I said, and after they get married, and she gets pregnant, okay? And that's another stressor on the relationship. And also, because she doesn't respect him fully, there's a cultural clash. Apparently, in China culture, the mom comes and helps the daughter for 100 days. That's a Chinese culture thing, is what they said. And I can understand that. I mean, it sounds like a good idea. Well, this Joe Elledge guy didn't like her mom, and probably because mom was affecting or threatening, maybe not even literally or realistically, just in his mind, maybe his power, his control. And a beta male likes to isolate. He doesn't like outside. A lot of times, what beta males will do, is they'll isolate you, and so that now you only are controlled by them, and there's not going to be any, threats to their control, and that's what they're all about, is control, because they're afraid if they lose control, they'll never get you back, and they'll never have a woman again. Their life is over, and that's why they end up in, such severe cases such as murder, right? But yeah, he starts clashing with their mom. How do you think that's going to go when you clash with a girl's mom? I mean, that's not usually going to go well, unless she just hates her mom, which not too many girls do. I know they do probably when they're teenagers, but not as they get adults. They learn better, and especially when they start having kids. And if she's asked her mom to come over, and her mom's been in China and been missing her, and she's coming to help out, and she was telling Joe, "Hey, dude, I need my mom right now. My body's messed up from pregnancy, and I got this baby. I need my mom. And he's totally no, I don't like. I mean, he was calling her mom all kind of things. I mean, just ridiculous type, uncalled for. I mean, it's not gonna, this is not gonna go well. But he's losing control, so he's losing control of himself. and he thinks by, yelling, and he doesn't know any, he's getting aggressive, he's getting, and that's an emotion, he's getting emotional, he's losing emotional control. And that loss of emotional control is loss of control of the situation, also loss of control of yourself. And that's one thing that women almost, one of the most disgusting things for a woman to see is a man to lose emotional control, because she knows how dangerous men can get. And, Menchie was getting scared. Now, they have this like blow up, and he apologized to the mom, but what do I say about beta males? They're the most dangerous men. He was shape-shifting. I don't think he was really apologizing. Menchie's mom thought that was a true apology. It wasn't. It was to get her out of the United States and back into China so he could have his way, and get back under, Menchie under his control. But what does he find out? Well, because she doesn't respect you anymore, and you've disgusted her with your behavior, and you've disgusted her by, talking crap to her mom, and he should know this, and let me give you a red flag, guys. If you're arguing with a woman, and you're continually arguing, if you have 14 hours of arguments, if you have more than one argument, that's a serious blow up, you're in trouble, because a woman that has genuine burning desire for you is going to want to please you. She's going to want to do what she has to do if she respects you. And nobody's perfect. But you're going to see the desire to try to fix things. And if you're in the situation, you'll see it. You'll see the woman trying to fix something. But if she doesn't respect you, then you're going to see the woman buck up to you. She was bucking up to Joe because she didn't respect him, and she didn't trust him. She wasn't safe around him, and she was, and he was, losing his temper, and But the fact that your wife is arguing with you, we don't argue with women. We do not argue with women. Law number 9: win through your actions, never through argument. But because he's a beta male, he doesn't know how to be a strong man, to lead her, to show her, that she is safe, to just carry himself in a way to where his wife feels safe. He's a beta male. He's never had to do that. He doesn't, he's done it by shape-shifting, and this shape-shifting isn't working anymore because Menchie's probably figured him out. And like I said, women can smell you. If you're a beta male, that'll work for a little while, but women, they'll suss you out sooner or later. A lot of times it's sooner than you know. And she had. I know she had, but she still hadn't had her green card. That was part of the reason she was staying in the relationship, and then the baby also. But more of it was the green card, because in 5 months, prior to, spoiler alert, prior to her murder, she was trying to stay in the relationship to get her green card. Now, one thing I'll warn women about is when you see this, constant cussing and, or a man threatening you, threatening harm to you, or threatening violence on anything or anyone, believe them, and it's not worth it. The women don't sometimes realize I'm not doing it to scare women, but how much stronger men are. We carry 60% more muscle tissue than a woman. I've played co-ed soccer. I love soccer. I played co-ed soccer, and that's where I saw it. And this is not to talk crap about women, because women have another side of them, that, that soft power, that's just beautiful. We love it. But dude, men can annihilate women, and I'm not saying that to scare them. I'm saying it to protect them, because I don't want women to think that they can ever go up against a man. There may be 1 or 2 out there, but you probably ain't that 1 or 2. Share this with your sisters, share this with your mothers, share this with your aunts, anyone that's dating, or having a bad relationship, and here's one thing too, ladies, and be careful. And I want to kind of reach out to ladies on this one too, and men, listen up too. What I've said is, don't go snooping when you think your wife is cheating or talking to another dude. She probably is. And that's what Joe does. He goes looking at her emails and finds her talking to another dude in China. They're having sex. They obviously weren't sexual because she hadn't been in China. but she was having an online relationship. But that's because she wasn't getting what she needed from you. When a girl feels safe, when a girl respects her man, when you're king daddy, when you're king it, she won't go anywhere else. She won't have online. What that signifies is you're done. You're done. If you find something like that, don't talk to her. And she'll understand because she's done with you. She won't get mad. A woman won't get mad. I mean, you have an outside chance, but know yourself. That'll rock a man. That will rock a man. It will. Don't go looking. You know, if you're going to check an email that you think is sent from another man, then you already know it is. Then you don't go open it up. You don't, because you can't unsee it. It's going to piss you off. Have a friend read it maybe, and he reads it to you, you know, or he just confirms. That's all I say. Was it? Yes. Get out. You know, don't look at the deep. I would not want to know. I'd have a friend read it. You know, hey, I think I found, but you know, but you don't go snooping. Do not, because you cannot unsee stuff. And men, we have a certain disgust when our women, you know, cheat on us. You know, it's that paternity thing. You know, we want to, you know, test for paternity and stuff like that. So, whatever it is, it rocks us hard. And know that it's going to be hard to control your emotions. Well, that's what he finds right before she goes missing, quote unquote missing, you know, and she's gone for 2 days before he reports it, you know, which, you know, he writes a note to himself, again, a shapeshifter, how to respond to the police and the media when answering questions about my wife. Refer to her in present tense. Like, okay, if you didn't kill her, why do you have to refer to her in she is alive, you know? No, he knew how to shapeshift. That's a beta male, you know? And he got so mad that he found the stuff because he read it, and it wasn't kind. Again, and I'll say this to women, don't, you know, if I can find one woman that don't start relationships with a man before you're done with one man. You know, it's not for me. It's not, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You don't know how much men get disgusted with that. And if they find your crap, you're in serious danger, especially if you're with a beta male. You know. But she was having an online sexual romance, and she said stuff like, I have zero interest in my husband anymore. Well, the fact that she's arguing with you, you already need to know this. I have other videos on this. How do you know disrespect from your wife? I have other videos on that, you know, if she's clowning you in front of other people, if she's not having sex with you, if she's, you know, and that's supposedly what happens the night of the murder. He gives her a massage, you know, the quoting, women hate massages from their sexless husbands because they know what you're doing. Don't offer a woman a massage if she's not having sex with you, you know. Just, you either ask to bang or you don't bang, you know, and here's the way to do it, you know, and, you know, there's a good book called Dread by Ryan Stone, but, you know, if you're in a sexless marriage, you know, and you're trying to get sex back, you ask for it, you know, hey, you want to bang? No, I don't want to bang. Oh, you don't get mad, say, cool, no problem. Get your gym bag, have it set up. All right, I'm gonna head to the gym. Now she don't know, you know, she might not care where you're going, you know, but head to the gym, get big into the gym, you know, and when your wife sees you starting to look better, she's gonna want, oh man, maybe there's some other girls that want this dude, you know, and he doesn't seem to, if you pout and you know, or you just sit there quiet and stew and, you know, read a book and, you know, and just be quiet. Hey, are you okay, honey, you know? Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. This book is much better than you sucking my D, you know. No, honey, I'm good. Yeah, no, I would rather read this magazine than you suck my D. I mean, you know, no, she knows, you know. But if you might like something like working out or, hey, just, you know, yeah, I'm going to the gym. She might think maybe he's going to get it somewhere else. Getting a woman wondering, you know. But anyway, that's just kind of an aside, guys. But, you know, that's for the sexless marriage guys. But that's a sign that she doesn't respect you, you know. Definitely. But again, and supposedly Joe Elledge was rebuffed the night of the murder, and supposedly he gave a massage, and you know, and I think he strangled her. She had 4 broken ribs, and he took her out to an area near where he proposed to her under a juniper tree, and dug a shallow grave. Because let me tell you something. This is not to be funny, but shallow graves are dug because digging is hard. So. You know, I mean, first of all, don't commit a murder. Don't be doing this stupid stuff, you know. But you haven't planned. Go try to dig a 6-foot hole, you know. It's just stupid, all of it around. Don't be a beta male. Have control over yourself. It's disrespect. I mean, and then just obviously, to to discard a woman that you claim to love like that. That's ridiculous. In a shallow, grave under a juniper tree. I mean, where you proposed, and you obviously didn't plan that out very well because you got tired of digging. Like, come on, man, that's beta AF, dude. At least man up and say, hey, I messed up, I did it, and I'm sorry. I just admit to the cops you did it. I don't know, man. I'm just, Anyway, and but and he did interviews with the news. Can't wait till she comes home. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, that's the more beta male shape-shifting and crying but yeah, so they ended up tying him to the crime because his cell phone was in that area. And B, she left her daughter, her cell phone, her purse, her car, everything, For 2 weeks they hadn't heard from her, And they had a fight about, some, love affair she was having over in China, But that is one thing they'll do, gentlemen. When you're not respected, when you're in a sexless marriage and you're not loved, and that's one of the true signs you're not respected is sexless marriage. That's why I got to point that out. But if you're in a marriage where you're not respected and you're not loved, women love talking to men. They love being aroused by men. They love having sex with men. And this is something we're not so aware of. We've been kind of lulled to sleep a little bit, and women don't care, and they can go years without it. And bull crap. Yeah, they love it more than we do. They really do. They're not driven to do it as much as we are, but they love it just as much as we do, and they have sex more than we do because they have access to it more. So, in essence, women have more sex, lots more sex than men. So, who are the real perverts? And glad that's a feature too, not a bug. We love it. I love perverted women. Anyway, I digress, but not really. So, but yeah. So anyway. But a hiker then ends up finding Menchie buried as he's out in this wooded area right near Joe Elledge's home, and that's where she is. Obviously, if he probably did it, but how they connect them is kind of cool. Apparently, juniper trees and all trees, I guess, have DNA. I didn't know this. That was something I learned, but they can get DNA from trees. So. They got the correct. So they found boots at his house. It was muddy the night that he went out and buried her, and they think he strangled her. She had 4 broken ribs. That's tremendous beta male force. He laid a whooping on this poor woman, beautiful woman, and that's just ridiculous, uncalled for. Anger's out of control. He's out of control. You can kind of see it with his lack of emotional control. He just, became violent and aggressive. And, what he didn't realize is he didn't have the balls to call it quits. You can't control this. You're not able to control her anymore. And a true man, a real alpha male man will say, hey, look, I can't control her anymore. She's not listening to my direction anymore. How do you know a woman likes you? By how much she cooperates with you guys. If she's not cooperating with you, and this is from day 1 to last day you're with her. If she's not cooperating with you, she doesn't love you anymore. So if you're arguing with her, that's lack of cooperation. Lack of cooperation is lack of interest. Any resistance is disinterest. And that's from day 1 to day 500 million trillion, whatever you're with her, It never ends, So if she's lacking, the desire to cooperate, she's lacking the desire to go with whatever you're trying to tell her to do, and you're getting more angry and you're getting more frustrated, what's the game plan? Have a game plan. You need to do the reps before you get into these situations, because you might. But have the game plan. If a woman does this, and have enough identity, have enough, self-control to say, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out of this. You need to, because we've all been there, and it's any one of us. If we're in any situation where we're frustrated, we're going to get more angry. It's part of who we are. And men, men have 2 emotions: happy and angry. I mean, that's really, we don't do psychological warfare very well. We solve things through fighting. And that's not what we do anymore. Maybe that was way back in the caveman days, but that ain't gonna fly these days. That's gonna end you up in jail, and in trouble, right? So you gotta think smarter, and work smarter, not harder. And but yeah, they ended up connecting the shoes he had on that day. They collected those from his house, and they had juniper needles in them. And the same juniper needles in his boots were the same juniper needles that he buried her under. And he tried to say that, I changed my story. She didn't just walk off. I actually did massage her that night, and she tried to lunge at me, and I pushed her. And no. He did it. He was convicted. He was given 28 years, one for every year that Menchie was alive. Menchie, unfortunately, been a beta male, and couldn't get out of it apparently, and didn't know how dangerous they can be. And so I tell this story to let anyone out there know that's as beautiful as her, and just a great woman. Like, we'd all love to be married to a girl like her. I mean, any guy out there, you just know you would. You could hear her talking. You're like, oh man, I mean, dude, why are you unhappy with this? I mean, I was hearing her like argue, and I'm like, well, good point, Menchie. I was like, well, Joe, what's your problem, dude? She's got a point, But hey, is what it is. But again, be the alpha bang side. Don't be the beta male. Beta males are the most dangerous when, he was losing control, and beta males are definitely gonna go snooping. When you beta males out there, when you go snooping, good luck. You ain't gonna be able to unsee that. And if you end up doing the wrong thing, then I warned you here. Don't do it. Don't go snooping. Get with a friend. Take a breather. Get with a friend. Have your friend guide you through I've talked about this already. Have a trusted friend, therapist, church member, whatever, guide you through what you need to go through. Because I won't deny it's not gonna rock you. But when you go digging too much, like Joe did, and he saw a lot of crap, a lot of sexting, a lot of bad talk about him. It is what it is. He needs to know. You guys need to know. I'm telling you now. When she doesn't respect you, it's no holds barred. Anything's possible. All right. So anyway, we honor Menchie, and and we're glad that that justice was done on her behalf. Unfortunately, she lost her life much too soon, was taken away from her 1-year-old daughter. It's absolutely ridiculous that these beta males get away with this stuff, and but if we can save someone out there from these guys, ladies, watch out. These beta males, they're shapeshifters. They're weak. If you identify yourself with the beta male, understand when they lose control. They're playing that nice guy routine. Once they can't control you, if they're trying to isolate you, if they're trying to shame you, if they're trying to argue with you, if they're trying to yell at you to get you to mind them, you either respect somebody or you don't. You either someone commands respect for you, but they can never demand respect from you. And that's what these beta males try to do, and they don't understand they can't do that. So anyway, we'll see you on the next one.